Mark 6 says this: Immediately after this, Jesus insisted that his disciples get back into the boat and head across the lake to Bethsaida, while he sent the people home. After telling everybody goodbye, he went into the hills by himself to pray. Late that night, the disciples were in their boat in the middle of the lake, and Jesus was alone on land. He saw that they were in serious trouble, rowing hard and struggling against the wind and waves. About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came toward them, walking on the water. He intended to go past them, but when they saw him walking on the water, they cried out in terror, thinking he was a ghost. They were all terrified when they saw him, but Jesus spoke to them at once. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Take courage, I am here." Then he climbed into the boat and the wind stopped, and they were totally amazed, for they still didn't understand the significance of the miracle of the loaves. Their heart was so hardened that it couldn't take it in. After they had crossed the lake, they landed in Gennesaret. They brought the boat to shore and climbed out, and the people recognized Jesus at once. And they ran throughout the whole area, carrying sick people on mats to wherever they heard he was. When he went in villages and cities or the countrysides, they brought the sick out to the marketplaces. They begged him to let the sick touch at least the fringe of his robe, and all who touched him were healed. What's amazing about this passage is Jesus had just did a mighty miracle of feeding 5,000. He also just sent them out to preach and heal and cast out demons, and they were able to. And yet when they see Jesus walking on water, they're terrified, and they thought it was a ghost. And the Bible says their hearts were hardened. So even after they believed and God did many mighty things, they instantly went back into doubt. What's amazing is Jesus escaped the situation, went to the hills, and prayed. And sometimes in our lives, we've got to do what Jesus did and cut everything else off and go alone and meet with the Father. And Jesus, even though he was the Son of God, he needed to spend time alone with the Father. Even during his ministry, he's always escaping to pray with the Father because he knows that the Father is the source of his strength. So Jesus is walking on the water. They thought it was a ghost, and Jesus said, "Don't be afraid, take courage, I am here." And the wind ceased, and they were amazed. And you see, Jesus is powerful. He can walk on water, and we know from another account in the book of Matthew, we see Peter, when he sees Jesus walking on the water. Remember, Peter walks on the water, but then he takes his eyes off Jesus. He looks at the wind and waves, and he drowns, and he cries out, "Lord, save me," and then Jesus saves him. So the big lesson that we get is to not take our eyes off Jesus and look at our circumstances. We need to keep our eyes fixed on him, as Hebrews 12 says, looking unto Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. When Jesus got on the land, people came from everywhere just to get close to him, to touch him so they could find healing. And the truth is, when you come near to Jesus, you come near to healing. First from your sin, also physically, spiritually, mentally. God is a healer.